everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm here to share with you my Pick a Stick Challenge Altered Tag Challenge. So this is from the Pick a Stick group over on Facebook. We've been running it for 4 years now. We offer 3 challenges a month, and they are based on randomly drawn one-word prompts, which you can interpret in any way that you want. Just look at the word, decide what it means to you. The first prompt was text, and so I decided to add a bunch of different types of text to this tag, which already has some paint on it, but I'm not really worried about the paint. It's just got leftover paint on it. So I use different things like book text, dictionary text, stickers, stamps, background stamp, all type of stuff to put text on the background. Also this month, the randomly drawn color for this challenge is black. Well, there's not anything easier than putting black on something, right? We put black on almost everything unless we intentionally refuse to add black. I mean, there's not very many projects that I don't have some sort of black, whether it's outlining or shadows or, I don't know, edging or backgrounds, always. The text on here on the paper is black. It's black on the sticker. Actually, I think it might have been brown on the sticker. But the ink that I use, the permanent ink, which I started out with Memento Tuxedo Black and then realized that my Memento pad is like in desperate need of some ink, some re-inking. It's pretty pathetic at this point. So I switched to my giant archival pad, which is pretty well juiced up right now, to add the rest of the words. But I use that big background stamp with the French script, and then I have this little stamp set I've never used. It's by Fiskars. It had some cute birds on it, and I liked it, so I picked it up, and then I've never used it. I think I got it from Tuesday Morning for like, $3 or something. It has some good words like create and inspire and happiness and dream and those type of words. So I just kept adding text until I was happy with it. Kind of more of a, these aren't intended to really show or be in the foreground. It's background pattern. I always love text as background pattern. I think it looks really cool graphically. So the second step was buff. And sometimes that could mean rubbing something or adding something like rub and buff, which is a metallic. In this case, I just decided to use buff titanium paint, which is sometimes called Titan buff. It's just basically a off-white paint, and it's still got the titanium in it. Sometimes it's called unbleached titanium, but of course I wanted to use the one that had the word buff in it. Buff is a color, and I'm not sure if when we drew this, I wasn't the one to draw the things this month, so I don't think I was. I'm pretty sure I wasn't. So I'm not sure if it was a color, well, no, it wouldn't be a color because the colors were black and rose gold. I remember that. So it must have been an action type of a thing. The next step was mellow, and that's a weird one. I decided to think of mellowing out something by using mellow yellow. And the most mellow yellow that I have is Naples yellow, which is a color that I love. I actually really kind of consider it a neutral. I mean, it's just something that I use a lot. And so I decided to get a couple stencils and stencil on some pattern using Naples yellow. And then I also brought in some quinacridone gold, which is also, I think, a very neutral color. It's kind of a rust almost, but it's just a really cool color to use for integration, for adding pattern that's not like in your face. So therefore it is mellow to me, right? Because these words you're interpreting them whatever way you want. It's your choice. So once I was done with that, I made some collage paper by just scraping the leftover paint onto my deli paper background, under paper I mean. And then I'm ready to add the next step which is ellipse. and an ellipse is an oval, kind of, basically. It could be a circle in some geometric logic, but in this case, and I've already got circles, but I decided to do kind of a not uniform oval shape. And I'm again bringing in some more of that black, which is the challenge color for this month. So I have these different pieces of mostly just leftover paper when I was gel printing. Maybe I was cleaning up the stencil and I cleaned off onto some deli paper. The other one is that same type of a thing. It was some of the under paper that I was just cleaning out the stencil. When I'm gel printing, I often will put black down first, then put the stencil on, and then clean out the holes of the stencil with a piece of scratch paper. And then I end up with this reversed pattern of the stencil on, just paper. And I just throw all those papers in my collage collection because I know I'm going to use them at some point. And that's what these are. They were not intentional prints. They're like the leftover junk that you get when you're gel printing, basically. But they have great pattern on them, and they're black. So I cut ovals out, and then I cut ovals out of the ovals to make kind of what looks to me like a chain link. I'm not trying to make a chain here. I'm just making an interesting abstract background with collage, and there's no intention here, but they do to me look like chain links, kind of. And I'm just gluing them on here and there randomly. I decided to throw in some of the smaller solid ovals to fill in some space. And I could have really just been done with the tag at this point. I could have just left it as an abstract if I wanted to. And that's certainly an option. I think it looks pretty cool at this point. Could have added a little bit of highlight and shadow and been done with it. But I decided to go ahead and throw in the wild card. Now the wild cards, the intention of the wild card is that if you don't like one of the steps, or you can't think of something to do with one of the steps, then we give you the wild card as an option for a replacement. You can take out the one you don't like, put the wild card in instead. Because sometimes people would get stuck and they would get frustrated. We don't want people to be frustrated. This challenge that we offer is for you to be inspired to do art. So if you're frustrated, you're just gonna not do it, right? You're gonna be like, this is too hard, I don't like it, whatever. So that's when we started throwing in the wild card. I think that was year 2. On the big challenge, the art journal page challenge, we have 2 wild cards. So they're again randomly drawn, and it just happened to be that the word was nature. And I decided to put some nature on because I just didn't feel like I was done. I thought I still needed to play some more. So I have this little cutout that I think was probably from a greeting card. It was sent to me by a friend in Happy Mail. And I trimmed it down a little bit because it had blue around the edges. And then I randomly cut a branch because these are little birds, like I think that might be starlings, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not an ornithologist. I don't really know exactly what every bird is, but I think they might be starlings. And that's what I'm going with. And they needed a branch, so I just cut that out of some paper that had some brown paint on it. And then I'm cutting out some little leaves out of a different piece of scrap paper that was on my desk. I have a little bin on my desk of scraps that I just throw in there when I'm done with a project. And I've been accruing lots of scraps this month because of the ATC a day challenge. Um, Lots of scraps are appearing everywhere. They're on the floor, they're on the desk, they're in the bin, they're not in the bin. Yeah, they're everywhere. My studio is a huge mess right now because I just don't have time to clean it up and to make an artist trading card a day and get all my other stuff done. I just don't have time to clean. Nor do I really have the inclination to clean. I really don't. I don't like it. So I finish up my little tree branch by adding some leaves here and there on the left-hand side, which I think makes the composition more interesting to be a little bit off of balance. And then I glue all that stuff down and my little birdies are on the branch. Then I cut a piece of black cardstock to frame the tag, I like to do this with my tags. I like to have that solid border all the way around. I think it makes it look more classy. So this is just plain black cardstock, and I cut it into a rectangle that's the right size and then trim off the corners to make it the tag shape. And the tag itself is a manila tag, a manila shipping tag, and I have a box of 1,000 of them. I'm probably down to maybe 800 now. I've probably used up a couple hundred of them because I do like to make altered tags. It's a lot of fun. So um, that's what the base was. Then and it had some paint on it from something else. I don't know, but which is completely covered at this point. I think. I don't think there's any of that. Well, there might be a little bit of that purpley color showing through here and there, maybe by the Inspire word and up at the top corner. A little of it might be showing, but most of it got covered up. So now I'm adding shadows and highlights to make the collage appear as if it was intentional instead of just some stuff stuck on a piece of paper. And for this, I'm using that quinacridone gold DecoArt Media Fluid Paint that I used to mix with the yellow when I was mellowing everything with the yellow because it's mellow yellow, you know. So I'm using that with my water brush, my water tank brush, and going around the shapes with that quinacridone nickel azo gold. It's a very fancy color, very fancy. And then because it really has the whitest, most opaque white, I put a little bit of the acrylic ink from my Posca pen onto the paper and pick that up with my water brush and add some highlights around here and there to make things more dimensional. The birds are already white, but they're kind of a grayish white. So there is a tone whiter than what's white on those birds. So I can add some highlights also to the leaves and to the branch. And this helps them stand out from the background. The background's pretty busy. It's really quite busy. So that helps to add the shadows and highlights to blend everything together and to make the birds and the branches stand out from the background. Then I have my black Stabilo All pencil to add some of blackest blacks here and there. And I blend that as well with my water tank brush. So I hope you're enjoying this video. I hope you enjoy these challenges that I do. I certainly enjoy challenges. I think it's a great way to get me into the studio to do something when I might be feeling lazy or not in the mood. But if I have a challenge, then I have some place to start. I have a jumping off point. So if you are enjoying it, of course, leave me a thumbs up. You can leave me a comment or question below as well. That really helps. And you can subscribe so that you know when there's a fresh video, usually every other day. This month, there's been some that just went every day because of all the ATCs. Also, you can share this, and that's really helpful. I'm still trying to grow my channel. It's growing very, very slowly now. So it's great if you do those things for me to help me get out there and to help other people find me. So then I added a couple ribbons. One of them is a buff colored organza ribbon, and the other one is a black grosgrain ribbon to the top. I like to add them because I think it makes it look like a real tag if it has some type of a tag tie. And then the last thing I did was to stamp the word Inspire from that same little Fiskars clear stamp set. And I was pretty much done with this tag. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.